what would eventually become Nigeria. Now, great-grandfather, my father told me, was being taken away by this soldier, knowing that he would end up being the soldier's slave. After a while, another soldier, presumably of higher rank because he was on a horse, came up, took great-grandfather off his original captor, put him behind him on his horse, and rides off. After a while, great-grandfather, my father told me, quietly picks up the soldier's sword from behind him, slits his throat, dumps his body, and rides back in the direction from whence they had come. Now, this is where the peculiar behavior comes in, because great-grandfather, my father told me, finds his original captor, surrenders himself to him, and they ride off to a town called Shagamu to live as originally intended, as master and slave. Peculiar behavior indeed. But I like to think that there must have been a good explanation for what my great-grandfather did. And the story that I have created is that maybe his hometown of Elisha was unsafe for great-grandfather to return to. And maybe his captor, the horseman, was known to be someone who sold his captives to the Europeans on the coast, who would transport them across the big ocean at the bottom of a big ship, never to be seen again. So if great-grandfather hadn't murdered a man, he might have ended up in Cuba or Brazil, or maybe even one of the southern states of this country. If not for what my great-grandfather did, I might not be a Nigerian-born British actor and storyteller, free to travel the world, free to visit Cleveland, free to leave again, I hope. I might be an African American, still at the mercy of the system that still captures, enslaves, and abuses black bodies to this day. The same system that murders innocent black people, sometimes at the blink of an eye, sometimes given decades' notice. Now, what's a man to do when he is told that he is going to be murdered on such and such a day? Well, if that man is Keith Bomani Lamar, he uses books, music, art, poetry to free his mind, to bring people together, to show us our shared humanity, and to remind us of how powerful we are when we come together, when we act together for justice, when we come together in love, to remind us that love is the only freedom.
right, good evening, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming out today, and I want to apologize in advance if we have any technical difficulties, in particular when it comes to the phone. Keith will be calling in, and due to the circumstances that he is in, there are times, just like a moment ago, where his call was dropped, and he had to call me back and had to wait for him before coming up to the stage. We will try to keep those to a minimum, but just please ask for your understanding should something like that occur. Say, what an amazing gathering of people that we have here this evening. You know, and as beautiful as this gathering is, the one thing that would make it even more beautiful is if this event did not have to occur for this particular reason. So my name is Ken Wright, 1985, at the age of 14, at JFK High School. I met my best friend in his life. His name is Keith Lamar. Friendship was immediate. This lasted a lifetime. So there's no coincidence to me, that people from such varied backgrounds, disciplines, cultures have come together behind my man, Keith Lamar. I say this without hesitation. I've lived in different places. I've traveled many places around the world, met many people. Keith is the most singularly talented person that I've ever met in my life. And I say that without hesitation. First thing I noted about my brother was his humor. Right? He can make up elaborate stories just off the top of his head. Absolutely. You know, anybody that knows him knows. Back then, he was just a funny guy. He wasn't mean-spirited with it, but he would just make observations about you and make everybody in the room crack up laughing. So what my 15-year-old self did not know is that he wasn't just a funny guy in a comedian type of way, although we tried to get him to do comedy. What I realize now was that he was then and is now a master communicator. You know, we had what we called back in the day the gift of gab. Whether it was speaking to fellas, speaking to ladies, older people, his peers, whoever it was, he had that ability to engage with people on all different levels. So what I want to speak about a little bit is for those of you who knew Keith the last time he was amongst us in the late 80s, and now who that man is today in 2023, and how he's developed himself over time, the work that he's put in, the effort that he's put in. So in the years since his incarceration, he expanded on his communication capabilities beyond just the verbal. But now he has mastered his writing communication skills, as evidenced by the book that he wrote, Condemned. He also gave me a sneak peek at another book just about his life and growing up. I encourage my brother to keep with that, but I know he has other things in plan, but that book, at least the part that I read, was amazing as well. His abilities as a painter, which he demonstrated, and on the table over here we see the painting that he did, as well as some others that are in a smaller placket. He has started youth literacy groups impacting children all across the country. He's produced a jazz album, which we all are witnessing tonight, and from what I understand, he is the only death row prisoner in history to ever put out an album. And currently, he's in the process of putting together a documentary. All of this from a prison on death row. Now, each of us look at our lives, what we do on a day-to-day basis, the access that we have, the freedom of movement, the freedom of thought, the lack of restrictions, and what do we accomplish as individuals? And we take him, who is 22 to 23 hours a day, in a box. And he utilizes his time, his talents, his resources to do those things that I've mentioned and even more. So even now, 2023, he's teaching us about how we can move in this world, how we can impact this world. So to give you just a little insight on his talent as a writer, I used to work for the largest newspaper in this state. When he wrote his manuscript for his book Condemned before it came out, he asked me would I pass it on to somebody that could maybe help him out, get it exposed or something like that. I passed it on. That person came back to me and they said, I can tell that he is not formally educated. His writing is a little rough. However, this is what I do for a living. I'm trained at this. Said this young man is a far better writer than I am. Said if the state of Ohio does not kill this young man, he could be the next Ernest Hemingway. End quote. So more than his ability to communicate, kind of what makes Keith my best friend in this life is his insight, his unselfishness, his capacity for caring. So I'm asking everyone here tonight to bring a spirit of positivity and to bring a spirit of love. So the next voice that you will hear this evening from Youngstown, Ohio, from a place unfortunately known as Death Row for Keith, everyone, Keith Lamar. Okay, yes, so just once again, Keith will be coming on live and speaking to us. He will be in coordination with the band, and he will be doing his spoken word piece as the musicians here bring their craft in their own way. And we all get to experience this together. Again, there are times where the phone, it may drop. Keith is a consummate professional. We've seen that this past week where when things happen, he comes right back in. He doesn't miss a beat. But we just ask for everyone to stay with us during this process. Thank you.
Hi, Keith. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Following all songs.
When people typically think of an artist, what comes to mind is someone who uses their imagination to capture and convey reality as it is seen and felt. In the main, what we do or leave undone in the course of our everyday life is viewed as insignificant unless or until we are thrown into the crucible of adverse circumstances and forced to demand from self the strength and focus necessary to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. I recite these words on April the 14th, 2023. Less than 7 months away from my proposed execution, which is scheduled to take place on November the 16th. In other words, I'm standing on the brink of my existence, staring directly into that terrifying darkness that awaits us all. It's a difficult dilemma to be here, and I won't lie. But the only way to face it is to make it mean something. It is in this very strict sense of the word that I consider myself an artist. Someone who's trying to make a way out of no way. The music you are about to listen to comes out of the realm of the impossible. Something that in reality should not have been doable. Whether or not I am successful in stopping these people from killing me, you are right now listening to my last will and testament being binded embodiment of everything I've endured, learned, and conquered. Because of the courage and vision of some very remarkable people who believed when there was no reason to believe. My movement is moving. My friend and brother, Abel Marquez, who's accompanying me on the piano right now, is foremost among these Philly souls. On paper, he and I shouldn't have anything in common. After all, we speak different languages and come from two very different worlds where there exist barriers that aren't always easy to overcome. The music is a bridge, and all we need do is open our hearts and minds to be able to comprehend the complexities that constitute our shared humanity. Ain't that right out there? Yeah. For the past 3 decades, I've lived out my existence in a cell on Ohio's death row, trapped in the carceral silence of solitary confinement. For the uninitiated, this means I spent the bulk of my life 22 hours a day inside a cage no larger than the average closet. How have I survived without losing my mind? Music. I have to be honest with you right now. When I first arrived here, I was a deeply wounded and bitter person. And it is true to say, as James Baldwin has said, that hate, which can destroy so much, never failed to destroy the one who hated. I was surely on my way to a definite undoing. That an innocent man could be thrown into the depths of hell is an unspeakable horror. One that stretches back to the agony and pain that attended the middle passage. Indeed, what I am going through was not unprecedented. It has been done before. A long time ago and recently, it took a fellow prisoner to point this out to me. An old man named Snoop who turned me on to the healing powers of music. It is to him that I owe my sanity. God bless you, Snoop. He gave me the means to celebrate my pain and the tools to reconstruct my mentality, which in turn allowed me to see and understand that what I'm caught up in is in fact a continuation of a century-long struggle against oppression and greed. John Coltrane was my introduction to improvisational music. The music most commonly known as jazz, and served as the entry point into the vast reservoir of resistance and accumulated wisdom that accompanied would-be slaves on their journey to the new land. Put in its proper perspective, this music is the blood-drenched document of man's inhumanity to man and the overcoming of it. John Coltrane's love supreme should be seen in this light as a recapitulation of the fight to hold on towards humanity. In the face of the unspeakable, unthinkable, one must not only speak and think clearly, but one must also strive to find the fortitude to love supremely. That's the moral of the story, folks. When heard separately, the crashing of a cymbal can be likened to the sound of a wave. The snare, to that of a heartbeat. The bass line is the rising and setting of the sun. The piano is how the wind blows. And the horns are the blood-curdling scream of human beings practicing on a dream gone mad. And it's only when these polyrhythmic sounds are bound and come together that the creator's voice can be heard. Everything is beautiful. Planted within the peerless light that erased my ancestors was a seed of hope, which was watered and cultivated by music. Through the lifting up of every voice came the singing, came the ringing of this glorious thing called freedom, which is love's true destiny. Indeed, love is the only freedom. Love is the only freedom. Love is the only freedom. We accept our true value when we persist. Hey, when in spite of all and everything, we insist on the highest and best for ourselves and each other. This music is about trust and faith. Hey. About stepping out even when you can't see the stairs and believing that your foot will find something solid to stand on. Following your heart is the purest form of improvisation. Being true to that voice that calls you forward and then doing with dignity and grace the thing that needs to be done to change this system, to change the world. We must first change ourselves. That's what John Coltrane believes. It is to this that we are calling our souls. Yeah. Calling our souls. Come on. Calling our souls. Yeah, what's good, C-Town? Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah. I know it's been a minute. You know, it's a blessing to be here tonight. And, you know, I'm smiling, man. You know, we've been playing this music all over the world. Berlin, Spain, South America, New York. And it's all been so glorious, so glorious. You know, when the ideal came up that we would do a concert, now I told my piece that we had to come through Cleveland. I gotta go home, man. Thankfully, the Bop Stop was gracious enough to offer us some space to blow through, literally. And I brought with me some amazing musicians, as you can hear. Now, I'll introduce them, all to you in a minute. First, I just want to say thank you to those of you who came out to support my fight. I've seen a lot of familiar faces in the crowd tonight. Tokyo, Steve, Faison, what's up, G? My aunts, nieces, nephews, Mona, Aunt Marsha, no doubt. I see y'all there. Don, Ken, I seen your parents there too, Ken. That's big love, man. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and of course, all the folks at home watching on the live stream. Thank you. Obviously, I can't see all of your faces and can't know exactly who's here. If I don't say your name, charge it to my lack of vision, not my heart. Believe me, there's a lot of love in the thought that I still have so much love after all these years. It means a lot to me. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I've been through a lot of hell over the past 30 years. A lot of pain and suffering. But I agree with James Baldwin when he says people who cannot suffer can never grow up, can never discover who they are. Real talk if I ever heard it. Many of you remember me when I was still a kid, a teenager, and probably still think of me in that light. I mean the clothes, the cars and shit. But because of the suffering, I've grown up, discovered who I am. And what I know now, which I didn't know back then, is that who I am is more important than what I have. Even still, yeah, no doubt. Even still, whenever anybody asks me where I'm from, I tell them straight out with no hesitation. I'm from Cleveland, man. And I say that with pride in remembrance of the old days when things were difficult, when things were truly hard. I'm talking about standing in the free lunch line at Friendly Inn, Harbor Lights, shoplifting at the Goodwill on 55th and Quincy. What I know now is that none of that was a coincidence. They put us in the ghetto with the intent that we would perish there, that we would play and prey on each other. And we couldn't see it. The blind lead the blind. And I tell you, it took me a long time to put it together. And it's all here in my lyrics. I'm here tonight to penetrate the darkness, everybody, to shine a little light on my homies. If you're here, that means you survived the worst of it and have in your possession the power to prove your worth. If you're here, you remember the good in me and came to see if I still had it. But we're just getting started. And I'm just here to tell you, it ain't over till it's over. Much love, C-Town. Thanks for coming out to support me. It means so much. Much love, everybody.
B Free is going to be next. I start.
This is how it all began. In confusion, pain, a spark turned to a flame. 10 people died, lost their lives. Somebody had to be blamed. Even though it can never be explained how after 22,000 pieces of evidence was collected, none of it could be connected to a crime. This is what blows the mind. The phony, uncorroborated testimony of jailhouse informants willing to sell their souls for the chance of an early parole. But the state has the power to indict. They have the power to incite an angry community out for blood. Please let it not be misunderstood. An eye for an eye, somebody has to die. An eye for an eye, somebody has to die. It was hard to cut through the cacophony of sound, So many different voices, so many different people standing around. Keep your mouth closed, Keith. I was constantly told, an all-white jury, white judge, black clothes, 18 years without touching the soul. I went through this, stood by silently as they tortured me. They tortured me. They tortured me. Sat by silently as they tortured me. Had to open my eyes before I could see. Open my mouth before I could speak. Put a pen in my hand. Listen, this is what they did to me. I'm here to speak truth to power, yo. To tell you that we have the power, yo. That we have the keys to the kingdom, yo. So hard to believe, but you need to know. Until all of us are free, none of us can be. Until all of us are free, none of us can be. Until all of us are free, none of us can be. It took me a long time to find my way out. A long time to understand what it's all about. Find out what any people will silently accept, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice that will be applied. We have to draw the line. Do more than just survive. To live, we have to be willing to risk it all. That's the only way freedom can be achieved. The only way the soul can come to rest. We have to reach for the best within ourselves so we can be free. So we can be free. So we can be free. Be free. Be free. So we can be free. We can be free. We can be free, everybody. Be free. I said we can be free. Be free. So we can be free. We can be free.
Caroline Willis-Starr, saxophone Willis-Starr.
You have 1 minute remaining.
1 second, let me call right back, Albert.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, Playboy, that's all right.
Thank you for using GTL.
Yeah, thanks for your patience. Calling back.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from...
Keith,
an inmate at the Ohio State Penitentiary.
To accept this call is from a DRC correctional facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Utilization of an unapproved application and three-way calls to communicate are strictly prohibited and a violation of DRC policy. Thank you for using GTL.
Thank you for using GTL.
Let's go. Tell them the truth. It's like
All
20
right.
stars. Let's do it.
Okay. You know, whenever I think about all the struggles and strife I've been through in my life, it's really hard to comprehend. I mean, I'm sitting inside a cage on death row, yo. So far away from home, so far away from everything I know. Might as well be sitting inside the hold of a slave ship. That's what it feels like to be here. Yet it's hard sometimes to see how what I'm going through is connected to what my ancestors suffered and survived. Truth be told, I'm lucky to be alive. Real talk. Sometimes when things get too heavy to carry, I close my eyes and turn back to a time when everything was all good. A time when it was fully understood that being here on this earth was a big blessing. My grandfather taught me that. You see, I grew up in a neighborhood called the Village. A small enclave on the east side of Cleveland. A beautiful place, yo. With fruit trees and sweet things on every corner. No lie. I was surrounded by my family and friends then. And I'm telling you, there was no end to the love we shared. A real community planned by people whose only plan was to live and give everything they had. And they gave it all. Children of slaves who braved the worst of it. So we, the children and grandchildren, could make the most of it. Yeah. But to shield us from the pain of knowing the truth would never explain what kind of society we were born into. They didn't tell us about all the tricks and traps that were designed to re-enslave, or about the hate that could deliver us to an early grave. They wanted us to be free. They wanted us not to see all the ugliness around us. So a lot of us got caught up in the darkness and lost the light that was meant to guide us through. You gotta tell the children the truth. Tell them it's not what they say, but what they do. Tell them the real about reality. That life isn't meant to be fair, but it's meant to be lived. Tell the children the truth. If we're gonna be here, let's be here. Tell the children the truth. Yeah. Tell me the truth. I love you, little Kevin. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, please join me. Give me these amazing musicians a big round of applause. One more time, if you can. Yeah. You know, we have with us tonight Roy Nathanson on soprano saxophone. Give it up for Roy Nathanson, everybody. Yeah. All the way from South Africa, we have Celine Washington on tenor saxophone. Give it up for my man Celine. Caroline Davis on the alto saxophone, everybody. I hear you, Caroline. Give it up for Caroline, yeah. We have Jordan McBride on bass. Jordan, you cold on those strings, brother. Give it up for Jordan, everybody. My man Zach O'Farrell on drums. I hear you making some noise, Zach. My friend and brother Albert Marquez on piano. No, he's the mastermind behind this project, everybody. He's the one who talked me into all this beauty. I love you for that, Albert. Also, before I forget, won't y'all join me in extending some well-deserved flowers to Tayo Aluka, the brother who opened the show, all the way from Nigeria by way of Liverpool. Much love, Tayo. Later on, y'all be hearing from my little brother, J Soul. But right now, I want to bring to the stage someone for whom I have deep love and admiration. A beautiful sister, poet, named Eartha Hopkins. As you will hear, this sister words ring, yeah, give it up for her. You know, you in for a pleasant surprise. You know, her words rings with truth and clarity, with depth, urgency, and purpose. She's incomparable. Eartha Hopkins, everybody.
Thank you, P. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm just so honored to be a part of this. It's always difficult to come after Keith. You know, you get so emotional. You know, you gotta. I'm like, get it together. Let's go. So, I wrote this poem 7 years ago for. Man, I was just in a place of just anger, frustration, mad. Still in anger, frustration, mad. So, here I go. We got 99 problems. Why revolutions ain't won? And revolutions ain't won with passive-aggressive slave mentalities that would rather kill the soul than the body. Ain't nobody handing out subsidies for freedom, so lucky for y'all. I pay with my life. Matter of fact, tell them to hang my corpse so high that the next generation sees stars of my courage. In the sky I live like I got black gods and goddesses on my side with Nat Turner and Marcus Garvey in these bloodlines. Who's to blame for our neighborhood's demise if we refuse to get up and fight? We move faster. Jay-Z's 16 bars with 16 of our own brothers and sisters are engaged behind 16 bars. Mass incarceration is just a reincarnation of chattel slavery, but we the new slaves. New slaves love new chains and pushing new whips that leave tread marks on the membrane. It's a shame how good and how bad it feels to be a nigga. In this country got so many ills, but it's illegal for a nigga to feel. In this country, so we don't shed tears when bright futures get immaterial. In this country, how much of our blood needs to spill in this country? So I'm looking for soldiers, 'cause ain't no middle ground on this war field in this country. And I know you're looking at me like, how I still got hope. Like, how my aspirations ain't vanished into thin air with the dope you unveiled in my neighborhoods. But I want you to hear me. hear me clearly when I say yes, I'm still dreaming. And even as I watch former kings and queens dance on my corners for green while street entrepreneurs slang them things to thrive in your diabolical trickle-down system where insane is sane for survival. My pulse pumps prosperity, peace, war, and revolution. You are now watching the evolution of a supreme queen, hailing from the crevices, cracks, and creases of ancient Kemetic hieroglyphs and ordained orators. And my words are expensive if you're lucky. I may let you bet on my memories if you're lucky. I may place a piece of mine on sale, no wonder. I've always been a lover of language. This body of mine ever so gently meandering through melodic rhythms of diction that humdrum on the spirits of the restless heroine for the easily forgettable with poetic prophecies that lie in the build-up of phonetics. If y'all was looking for me, my writing has always been on the wall. Thank you.
Whiskey drum on the safe. Now it's the drum on the safe. Let's do that. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, the drum on the safe.
Keith, we in the building, baby.
I hear you. I hear you.
You start, kid, whenever you want.
You know, in this country, most of us operate under the delusion that we live in the 21st century. That somehow, without actually doing the work, we have overcome our history. It's not true. Instead of hanging people from trees, we use the so-called criminal justice system to perform legalized lynchings and take this as a sign of progress. We confuse form with substance. When I embarked on this journey 3 decades ago, I was given the choice to either plead guilty to something I didn't do or face the death penalty. I was 25 years old. The thought that I would have to give up my life represented a great burden to me. A burden I wasn't so sure I could bear. I didn't fully understand back then that there was something more valuable than simply being alive. Although I intuitively understood that existing was not the same thing as living. I also somehow understood that in order to live with myself, I had to be true to myself. And for this, I would have to pay a hell of a price. After I was sentenced to death, I was thrown into the solitary confinement. It felt as if I was thrown into the middle of the ocean. Try to imagine it. Water as far as the eye can see. And it's just you by yourself, floating. That's what solitary confinement is like. In a situation like this, God ceases to be an abstraction. Something that exists apart from who you are and what you do. This is the domain of the drowned and the saved. Life is very real here. And your senses mean more to you than they ever will. what you can see, what you can feel, what you can hold in your hand. These are the only things that matter. And you begin to comprehend that under the circumstances, a piece of driftwood can be God. I mean, the smallest thing can change or save your life. And this piece of driftwood, a book, a dream, a random stranger, has not come to inquire about your particular race or religion. Instead, it has been sent to ask a more basic question. Do you want to live? And what does it mean to be alive? Tell me, what are we doing here? If you ask Nazim Hikmet, who's one of my favorite poets, he would tell you that living is no laughing matter, which to me implies that we didn't come here to play, to have fun. If that be the case, then I can live right here where I am, right here on death row. I needed to know that. More importantly, I needed to know that it's possible to lose everything and still be saved. At some point, I had to be willing to accept that the vastness I was so afraid of was God, which exists inside of me, inside of all of us. To accept this truth, I had to go within and teach myself how not to be afraid. And what exactly did I have to be afraid of anyway? Death? Hell? Well, as James Baldwin once famously said, when one is continually facing the worst that life can bring, one eventually ceases to be controlled by a fear of what life can bring. I amen his clarity. The arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, we are told. This may very well be, but we, with our own hands and minds, must bend it. We have to do the work. People are dying who could be saved. People are dying. We can save them. God bless you, everybody.
Are you sure? On leaving first. Okay. Now on leaving, can we come back to the stage? Okay, we're getting ready on the stage.
Okay.
You start.
Okay. Living is no laughing matter. You must live with great seriousness, like a squirrel, for example. I mean, without looking for something beyond and above living. I mean, living must be your whole life. Living is no laughing matter. You must take it seriously. So much so, and to such a degree that, for example, your hands tied behind your back to the wall, or else in the laboratory in your white coat and safety glasses. You can die for people. Even for people whose faces you've never seen. Even though you know living is the most real, the most beautiful thing. I mean, you must take living so seriously that even at 70, for example, you'll plant olive trees. And not for your children either. But because although you fear death, you don't believe it. Because living, I mean, weighs heavier. Let's say we're seriously ill, need surgery. Which is to say we might not get up from the right table. Even though it's impossible not to feel sad about going a little too soon. We'll still laugh at the joke speed though. We'll look out the window to see if it's raining. Or still wait anxiously for the latest newscast. Let's say we're at the front for something worth fighting for, say. There, in that first offensive on that very day, we might fall on our face. Yeah. We'll notice with a curious anger. But we'll still worry ourselves to death about the outcome of the war, which will last years. Let's say we're in prison and close to 50, and we have 18 more years, say, before the iron doors will open. We'll still live with the outside, with its people and animals, struggle and win. I mean, with the outside beyond the walls. I mean, however and wherever we are, we must live as if we would never die. This earth will grow cold. A star among stars. And one of the a gilded mold on blueberries. I mean, this, our great earth, this earth will grow cold one day, everybody. Not like a block of ice or a big cloud even, but like an empty walnut, it will roll along in pitch black space. You must grieve for this now. You have to feel this problem now. For the world must be loved this much. If you're gonna say, I lived. My cousin Cavallari died last year, June. If he was still, he would be here. Oh, I miss you so much, Kevin. And I promise to live the rest of my life in your honor, brother. I miss you, brother. Yeah, let me say goodbye, man.
Okay.
Oh. Oh my God, yeah. My time is coming to an end, everybody. I just wanted to be sure I'm able to say goodbye and to thank you all once again. There's a few people that I haven't mentioned yet. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. My friend, Andy Godell, who's the campaign manager. You probably seen her floating around back there. Give her a big round of applause, everybody. That girl got skills, man, for real. A dear friend of mine, truly. You know, Abby Futterman, who came all the way from her cozy home in New York City. She's back there at the merch table. Be sure to say hi to Abby on your way out, baby. Ken Wright, my longtime friend and brother. My best friend. We come on a long way, my dude. Long way, and I'm so grateful to still have you in my life, brother. Mama and Papa Wright, and I'm so glorious to see y'all faces today. Thanks for coming out, Aunt Marsha. Yeah. Auntie, I know it's hard for you to get around, baby, but I see you. I feel your energy there, and I hope you're proud of your time. No matter what do this, so come on and share with us. I just do this because never got I just want to say to my piece that I was with today. So I want to say thank you to Sonny McBride, the wife of Brian, the bass player. She's made some tremendous contributions to this concert series. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge her, and to acknowledge Julie, the sound engineer, and to thank the people at Bob Stop once again for providing us with this space. I mean, it's truly one of the most amazing days of my life. I mean that. It was so beautiful to see all y'all faces. Some of y'all I haven't seen in over 3 decades. But what's 3 decades between friends? I'm wishing y'all so much love. And I'm going to try to hang on as long as I can and listen to the rest of the concert. But thanks so much for coming out, everybody, for supporting me, for showing me so much love. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, everybody.
What's up, Cleveland? What's going on? That's all the love y'all got for me? What's up? So, my name is Jason Fulford. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I live in North Carolina right now. But Keith has become a brother to me over the past 2 years. And I just feel blessed to be in this room with this energy of his hometown, you know? Because I'm from Brooklyn, so we got a lot of pride out there, you know, and where we come from. And, man, every time I talk to Keith, he talk about Cleveland, you know? So he love y'all, man. This ain't, you know, I know y'all love him. I feel it. And, you know, I've been thinking about what I was going to say here tonight, being in his hometown. And just to give you a little background on myself, my cousin Eric Garner was killed by the police in 2014 by the NYPD. And, you know, it got me into activism and kind of standing up for more people. And, you know, I'm just blessed to meet Keith along this journey. And I think we all blessed to have him as part of our journey. You know, whether you knew him before tonight or you just knowing about him tonight, you know, it's a blessing. And love is the only freedom. You feel me? Like, and I got to visit Keith yesterday, and I'll tell you, when I was leaving, the hardest thing was to know that I wasn't going to be able to feel that energy the next day, you know? And I mean, I've been around a lot of people. I'm 41 years old. I've done experienced a lot of life. That's the most amazing brother I met in my life, man. I can't put it any better than that, you know? And he represents a lot of what I believe our future could be, you know? If we put that love on the table, get rid of that hate. You know, lift each other up instead of put each other down. And you know that we wrote this piece that I'm gonna perform in a second. And the only reason I'm up here with these musicians that come up from all over the world is because of Keith Lamar. You know, I was an educator for 15 years. This ain't my forte, you know. But you know what? He put so much confidence in me. I feel like, yo, I'm right at home now. I'm in Cleveland. We here. We in the building. You know, and you know, I would love to meet all of y'all after, man. You know, if time permits. You know, and just show some love to me. You know, cause I got love for y'all. You know, cause I know y'all through Keith, and knowing Keith is to know love. And I know I'm using that word a lot, but I know that is what will truly change this world. Love is the only freedom. And you know what? He is the greatest example of loving himself. You understand? So it starts within. And then it could go out. But it got to start within. You got to love yourself. And as I was thinking, I'm like, this is the message I got to say. Because he's helped me love myself more. Helped me gain the courage to be on this stage with these musicians that tour all over the world. And if he's doing that from the cell that he's in, any one of us could do anything that we put our mind to and that we put our heart to. That's right. And you know what? If you're having trouble loving yourself today, man, I love you. Straight up. I love you. And that's from my brother Keith. That ain't me. That's his energy. I'm still feeling it from that visit yesterday. And I gotten to meet some beautiful people. And I know the show must go on. But I just needed to pour my heart out and be real with y'all. You know? Because I'm only had this opportunity tonight. Yo, Zach, you ready? It's been years now since I felt alive, but I mask it with a smile to survive. While my people always get the back seat, while others have it all within their reach. We allow the system to be so suffocating, while kids got a blank canvas, no control what they painting. From systemic system, the brutal acts played out, my hope done empty like a well in a drought. Institutions give funds to set us free, but always find a way to not let us breathe. 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 My cousin Eric Garner had his last breath taken, while crooked cops still count the money they making. To protect and serve, yeah, right, they be faking. Ain't that been the case since slavery was in the making? How long we gonna sit back, give them excuses, while we are suffocated, deal with our internal bruises? It's time we put freedom first. We all deserve to be free. Get up, stand up, for each other's rights as if we are all family. It hit so close to home when my cousin got taken. So close to home when I heard about my brother Keith Lamar's situation. So close to home seeing friends and family in jail. Why they never had a chance to go to Harvard or Yale. So close to home when my childhood friend Nicholas Hayward Jr. got killed by cops at the age of 13. So close to home when I realized this was my reality, not a dream. Still can't believe how my cousin was taken. But truth be told, I've seen it so much, it was the beginning of my awakening. Thank you, Cleveland.
Thank you, Jason. I'll say something very, very short. My name is Alberto Marquez. I'm a piano player and composer from Barcelona. I want to insist with one of the things that Jason said. We want to meet all of you. So many people here know Keith. We have met Keith more recently. We really want to know more about you and meet you. And after the concert, I hope that we can do it. And now I want to introduce the person behind Justice for Keith Lamar. Literally nothing would be happening without her. Amy!
Hi, everybody. It's amazing. We're finally in Cleveland. It's amazing. Yeah, it's awesome. Can I take this off of here? Yes. Yeah, because I'm too tall. My job on this tour and in our concerts we've been doing is to come up the back end and ask folks to support. And all of you are here and supporting. And so I just want to say thank you for that. Yeah. I'm just gonna very quickly offer you some other ways and additional ideas about ways that you can support. And I want to share something that happened today. Today, Governor DeWine reprieved, meaning he's postponed the next few executions till 2026. All right. That's the good news. The problem is he stopped at October 2023, which means Keith's execution is still in play, right? Because his is November. So we can't stop all of this. We can't stop this energy. And so I just want you all to know that, sometimes we hear, oh, it's going to end and all of that, and it might, but it also might not. So until it ain't over, until it's over, as Keith says. So I want to say one thing real quick, because tonight 3 gentlemen are here who were with Keith during the Lucasville prison uprising that led him to death row. So Tokyo, Big Hank, and George Faison. Let's all, these guys went through that terrible, terrible experience with Keith. And they know what that was about. This happens to be this is the week of the 30th commemoration of that. So for 30 years, this has been 30 years, yeah. So, a couple of things. Some amazing things have happened. You've probably seen folks filming. We are working on a documentary that's set to come out next year. It's going to be, we don't know yet if it's going to be on HBO or Netflix or what, but it's going to be out there. Keith is making waves and noise, and the whole world is going to know him before we're done with this. Absolutely, no doubt. Recently, about a year ago, we were contacted by an investigative journalist who said she had heard about Keith's story, and she wondered if it'd be okay if she investigated. And she said, Keith, if I investigate you, I'm going to report it, good or bad. What do you think about that? He said, go for it. And so it's called The Real Killer Podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I want you to start listening to it, because what she's doing is unraveling all the bullshit that the state of Ohio did to those men during the Lucasville prison uprising and afterwards. So The Real Killer Podcast. Huh? Okay. Yeah, The Real Killer Podcast. It's on every platform. If you just type it in on Google, you'll find it. The one thing that Keith always says is, do that which you are assigned, and you can not hope too much nor dare too much. And so I was thinking earlier about how there's nobody I know who works harder than Keith. He's making phone calls every day. He's teaching students every day. He's writing articles, writing letters, loving people, encouraging people. And so what I want us to do is our assignment. We're at the merch table. We have 3 different styles of shirts. They're conversation starters. Like, who's that? And then you can tell the story, and together we can elevate the profile. If you would think about, maybe reading his book, getting an album, anything, a mug, those are all ways to help elevate Keith's profile, because we can't stop until it's over, and it ain't over yet. So thank you all so, so much for all the support over the years and tonight, and God bless you all.
I told you earlier about how my great-grandfather once murdered a man. And using my imagination and what had been passed down to me through my own father, I created a story about what his motives might have been for taking another man's life. His murder victim, the horseman, alas, we know nothing about. And you hear of him only through the mouth of his murderer's great-grandson. But it would be oh so different, wouldn't it, if our dear friend and brother Keith Bomani Lamar became another murder victim of the state of Ohio. It would be different because his name is known. It would be different because his innocence is proven. It would be different because the evidence is there, hiding in plain sight for the children, the grandchildren of the would-be murderers of Keith Bomani Lamar to one day find and reckon with. But who are they anyway, these children, these grandchildren? Who are the children of the prison authorities, the investigators, the prosecutors who hid evidence of Keith's innocence? Who are the children, the grandchildren of the all-white jury that convicted Keith Lamar, of the judge who sentenced him to death 3 decades ago? And who are the children, the grandchildren of the governor of the state of Ohio who refuses to put a stop to this insanity, this injustice, this desperate clinging on to some lingering, festering notion of white supremacy. The decades slowly morphed into years, and the years swiftly turned into months, and today we have just weeks to find maybe just one grandchild of the governor of the state of Ohio and tell them the truth, as Keith said. Tell them the truth about what their grandfather and his accomplices want to do to a fellow human being. Tell them the truth that they may, for the love of their grandfather, find the humanity that must surely rest somewhere deep inside him. Tell them the truth so that they may save him, themselves, and their children from the guilt and shame that will come from knowing that their grandfather, their great-grandfather, was party to the murder of a blameless, beautiful, brilliant man. There is a child not yet born who will one day say, not with guilt or shame, but with pride, I heard that my great-grandfather once stopped the murder of an innocent man whose story I once read in a book called Condemned, who released an album called Freedom First, and who was the subject of a whole series of something called the Real Killer Podcast. And he did all this and more, like teaching young people to read and to think critically. He did all this from death row. Wow. And they say that many people, my great-grandfather included, helped him walk free from the hell that he endured for 3 whole decades. Wow. Only in Ohio can this happen. And I believe what they say, that love indeed is the only freedom. Freedom. Freedom.
love Supreme. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. Yeah. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. Love Supreme. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. I love Supreme. What's up, Mona Lori?
Sing with us. I love Supreme.
Yeah, I love Supreme. Big hand.
I love Supreme.
I love Supreme. I love Supreme. Yeah. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I love Supreme. Yeah. Caroline Davis on the saxophone, everybody. Yeah. We got Roy Nathan Fair.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Jordan McBride on the bass. Give it up for Jordan, everybody. Give it up for Taco Fowler on the drums. Celine Washington, come on now. Celine, where you at, man? Alpha Martinez on the piano, everybody. That's all we're talking about. It's a love supreme, everybody. I love supreme. Ain't no doubt. No doubt. Just season. Tony, you stay strong, baby. Stay strong, Tony. Yeah. Where you at, Mona? Uncle Leon, what's up, baby? Yeah, I love the spring. Come on, everybody. Yeah. Angela, I see you in the house.
Thank you for using GTL.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.